talk about what people should know about non-compete. Is non-piracy a part of that? Can you talk about that segment?
Absolutely. So I'm going to clarify non-piracy as non-solicitation because that's often how it's
Okay.
framed. But
That,
just for clarification, and I also want to clarify the difference between the two because I think it's a pretty common confusion out there. So I think you described it well. So non-compete is that you cannot take a job that competes with the business that you're working with. And then non-solicitation is you can't call on customers and or employees of the business that you're leaving. Now, the interesting thing is that non-solicitations have gotten so broad, where a lot of times it says you cannot solicit, which is common, right? Induce them to change their behavior or, leave the business. Again, very common. But then you start to get into you can't communicate with or you can't do business with this customer, or you can't. I've actually seen connect with them on LinkedIn. And it's like,
wow.
are you kidding
What?
me? Um, and
Wow.
so the breadth of this is extensive. So it's one thing to say you can't go call all the customers and ask them to leave.
Right.
Most people would say, okay, that is a reasonable request. But that if they call you, you can't work with them. That's a maybe less reasonable request, but I get it because you can't tell. I mean, how often does it happen? Like, well, I can't call you, but if you call me, it's okay, right? Like that
Or
happens
you
all the
meet
time.
on the golf course or in a bar and it's, hey, we're just getting together and
Yeah.
there's no
So,
microphones. Yeah.
so you can as a business owner, and employer, you can see why you kind of want to buckle
Sure.
up these things, right? But ultimately, it's become so broad. So I kind of distinguish those two things because I think that they're important to note, and then to kind of talk a little bit about why non-solicitations are kind of on the chopping block as well, because they've gotten so broad. So, again, California has totally banned non-competes. It's kind of an easy one because they're just banned. Washington, because we are in Washington, did reduce the or restrict the availability of non-competes to people who make a certain salary, and that salary range, that salary threshold increases annually based on a cost of living adjustment. So something in the $120,000 to $130,000 that is, anything below that, it's prohibited. Above that, it's got to be within certain limitations. I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank, big fish, small pond in the shrimp.